Alright guys, so now we're going to look at the 10,000s place and round to the 10,000s. So here, if I go ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, I know that this 6 is in the 10,000s place. Well, 6 10,000s is 60,000, so that's going to be our starting place. Then, just like up here, we bumped it up by 1,000, down here we're going to bump it up by 10,000. So if we add a 10,000 to the 60,000, then we would get 70,000. Now the halfway point is going to be a little bit different, because now we're not going to half 1,000, we're going to half a 10,000. Well, we know that half of 10,000 is 5,000, but we're going to keep this 6. And it should make sense, guys, whenever you look at your number line. 60, 65, 70. Okay? Now that we have our low, our mid, and our high, we can go ahead and plot this number. So now I'm looking at my thousands place, which is an 8. So here's all of my thousands places. Well, is the 8,000 more than 5,000 or less than 5,000? Well, we know that this 8,000 is more than the 5,000, so it's going to be somewhere around here. So now we ask ourselves, is 68,907 closer to 60,000 or 70,000? Well, it's closer to 70,000, so we're going to circle it and then write it in our blank. All right, let's look at B. Even though our number goes to the 100,000s, we are still only rounding to 10,000. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, which is our 8. So I'm going to circle it. 8 10,000s is 80,000. Remember, since we're in our 10,000s, we're not going to add 1,000, so we're not going to 81,000. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. This is going to be 180,000. So adding a 10,000 to this 8, so 8 plus 1 is 9, so this would become 190,000. Now remember, we're breaking apart our 10,000s in half. So we have 5,000, half of 10,000 is 5,000, and then we're going to keep this upper part. So this would now be 185,000. Again, it should make sense. 180, 185, 190. So now that we have our low, our mid, and our high, we need to look at our thousands place, which is a 3. Okay, so is 3,000 gonna be lower than 5,000 or higher than 5,000? Well, we know that 3,000 is less than 5,000, so our number is going to be somewhere right here, 183,201. So now, is this number closer to 190,000 or 180,000? Well, we know it's closer to this one, so we're going to circle it and then write it in the blank. All right, look at C. We have 195,342. Again, we're rounding to the 10,000s place. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So we're going to circle the 9. So this will become 190,000. Then we want to add a 10,000. But guys, think about this. If we go 190 and we count up by 10, so if we're at 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, we get to a new number. So if I add 10,000 to this, then it's not going to be 100 something. We're now going to 200,000. Then our midway point, remember, half of 10,000 is 5,000. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. And then we carry everything in the front, so this would be 195,000. So now I can look at my thousands place. Well, this has a 5,000, this has a 5,000, but if we keep going over, Now we're at the 300s. Well, this is 5,000 with no hundreds. So that must mean that 300 is more than 0 hundredths. So our number's actually going to be plotted above. So 195,342. So is this number closer to 190,000 or 200,000? Well, we know it's closer to 200,000, so we're going to circle it and write it. All right, flip to the back. All right, the directions say round to the nearest 1,000 and 10,000. So this is where we really have to pay attention. So here it says thousands place. So I know that I'm going to have to circle my thousands. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. So I'm going to circle my 1. So that means that my starting place is 31,000. And then if I want to add 1,000, remember I'm not adding a 10,000. I'm adding 1,000. So if I add plus 1 here, then I'm going to get 32,000. Now half of 1,000 is 500. This is where y'all can't get confused. So this would now be 31,500. So now I can plot my number. Well, this is 600. So I'm going to ask myself, is 600 smaller than 500 or bigger than 500? Well, I know that 600 is bigger, so my number is going to plot somewhere in there. So 31,659. And then I know that this is closer to 32,000. So I'm going to circle it and then write it in the blank. Alright. Letter B, though, says to round to the nearest 10,000. So we're going back to the 10,000s. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000. So we're rounding here. So our starting point is going to be 30,000. If I add a 10,000, we would go from 30,000 plus 10. And 30 plus 10 is 40. So this would be 40,000. Then we have to think of our midway. So remember, now we're thinking half of 10,000. So half of 10,000 is 5,000. And we carry what's in front, which is this 3. Again, it should make sense. 30, 35, 40. Now we can plot this. This 1,000, we need to think, is it smaller than 5,000 or larger than 5,000? Well, we know that 1,000 is smaller, so this number is going to be plotted somewhere down here. 31,659. And we know that that's closer to 30,000 than 40, so we're going to write 30,000. Alright, now, this part's a little different. It says, which rounded number is more accurate? How do you know? Well, the only way to do this, guys, is to subtract and find the difference. So we're going to subtract 32,000 from 31,659, and then we're going to subtract 30,000 or 31,659 from 30,000. So we're going to write 32,000 minus 31,659. All right, 9 minus 0, we can't do that, so we have to borrow. We don't have anything to borrow from there, so we have to borrow again. Nothing there, so we have to borrow from here, which is our 1. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 5 cannot borrow from the 0. So again, we have to borrow again. So that becomes a 0.